First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time uh, to come on my show here, and it's an honor at the same time to have one of the best commentators from Showtime.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. It's a privilege for me to, reach out to you and to all the fans. It really is an honor.
Diamante. Here we got Diamante, one of my favorite fighters from when I was starting to get into boxing. So I watched a lot of your fights, and you're a warrior. You fought pretty much everyone.
Oh yeah, man. I came to fight, and I'm old school. I'm old school. My father and I believed in you win a world title, you got to fight the best to be the best. So that's what I try to do the whole time in my career. That's why I fought some of the best fighters: Sugar Shane Mosley, Fernando Vargas, Arthur Abraham, even at an older age when I fought for the middleweight title, which I earned it to get there. Jermaine Taylor. I fought as a junior middleweight. That was really my weight class. But, middleweight, that wasn't really my weight class. But when you become a champion at 154 and then you also have a name, there's going to be middleweights that are going to be calling you out. So, why not? It's an opportunity, and you got to take it.
Yeah, I should have actually mentioned that. You won the IBF junior middleweight title. So you did good. And
yeah, I can't complain. We might have made some bad management moves, where when I became a champion, I could have, if you want to say, milked the title a little bit more and fought, smaller guys with names or, good records that are coming up to weight. Like I said, I wanted to fight the best right away to be the best. And that was my mentality. And I still done good. Hey, I was an Olympian. I was a world champion. And now as a broadcaster with Showtime, I've been with the Showtime family for 11 years, and, I do the Showtime Championship Boxing in Espanol, and then I do the series Showbox with Barry Tompkins and Steve Farhood and Brian Campbell, and, I do the Wayne Show, and, I work for different platforms for Showtime Boxing, in Ingles and Espanol. I translate sometimes. I do a lot, and I'm happy to be where I'm at in my career.
And you do a tremendous job, because I've tried to translate a lot of my interviews in Spanish to English, and it's not easy.
No, it's not, man. It's sometimes, especially with the Latinos, it's a big community. You got Mexicans, you got Puerto Ricans, Cubanos, and they all have a different dialect in the way they word their words and the way they talk. Some of them talk a lot faster, so yeah, it makes it a lot harder. And but like I said, I enjoy doing it, man. And let's not forget, I'm training my son now, Giovanni Marquez, who's got some good things coming here in the future. He's 5-0 with 3 knockouts. He won the National Golden Gloves. Got the Outstanding Fighter in 2021, I believe it was the National Golden Gloves. And he's doing well. We sparred with a lot of big names like Shakur Stevenson, Oshaki Foster, Devin Haney, Austin Trout. We try to get good work. He does well. He's learning, and we're trying to get to the top.
Yeah, he just turned pro last year.
Yeah, we were with the split team management, and like I said, he's probably got a fight coming up in June, and then we got something big coming in August. It's a great opportunity for him. It'll be out soon, and we're super excited about that opportunity. He's a 6-round fighter. Like I said, he's got good skills, and I'm not saying that because he's my son, but he debuted on Showbox. He did well. We work hard every day, and he's got to keep focused. He's got to keep keep training hard, man. Hard work, dedication, and stay away from all the bad things, all the bad influences in life. I know he's probably listening right now, and that's a good thing, because he knows that he's got to stay focused, man, and he's got to stay away from, all the fiestas and all the girls and the party. You know how that goes, man. It's a lot of temptation, but that's not going to take you nowhere. I'm openly saying that from experience to all the fighters, young fighters that are out there, man. All that's gonna be there no matter what. If you succeed, in the boxing world, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The fame, the money, the fiestas, the girl, all that's gonna be there. Especially if you succeed, no matter what age, it's still gonna be there.
It's funny you mentioned that because the one guy I followed the most was Felix Trinidad, and I once spoke to his father, and that's something that he brought up in regards to Tito. He said he didn't let his son get out of the line. He was always, keeping an eye on Tito and saying, you got to go to the gym, no parties, no fiestas, no bad influence, just concentrate.
It's true. Some of the fighters, nowadays, and even the top fighters, I'm not going to name any names, but sooner or later that's gonna get to you, man. They think it's not gonna take over, but it will take over. The more you do it, and you think it's easier, but you think you're gonna be okay, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't go the right road. The road, it's good, but one way or another, it's gonna turn bad when you keep doing stuff like that. It's not gonna work.
Boxing is all about discipline.
Say it again.
Boxing is all about discipline.
Oh, absolutely, man. Sometimes you could have a guy that has so much talent and maybe doesn't have the discipline, but you have a guy that doesn't have that much talent, but he's got the discipline and he's hungry and he trains hard every day, and that's the guy that's going to come out on top. We've seen it in the past before.
Yeah. And speaking of discipline, I don't know if Rolando Rolly Romero is disciplined or if he underestimated Ismael Barroso. I don't know what happened there, but everyone was making fun of this Venezuelan before the fight due to his age.
I tell you what, I never take anybody light, never took anybody light in my career, no matter what. But I knew Barroso was going to be a good, tough fight for Rolly, because from what I saw in the fight, I think Rolly's still affected and Rolly knew he was going to be a tough guy, but I still think he's very cautious. He's maybe a little bit gun shy. I don't know, from the left hand of Tank Davis. I think, he's scared to get caught, and he did get caught a couple of times. Barroso caught him, and, he was holding like a crab, man. Hey, that's some part of the boxing game. And he was doing what he was supposed to do, move around, stick and move, catch him coming in and all that. A friend of mine named Ronald Sims, which I respect a lot. He's in the Shakur Stevenson camp, and he's been around the boxing forever. He was a good amateur. He was on national teams back when I was fighting, and even stayed amateur for even longer, like for the 96 team, 2000 team. He was there for a while. He told me he worked Barroso's corner a while back when he fought Ira Terry. And he said, he said, listen, that guy hits like a heavyweight. I worked with him before. I've done pads, and nobody has ever, I'm telling you, that guy hits like a heavyweight. And I said, Ron, but he's 40 years old. Can he catch him? He goes, I don't know if he could catch him, but if he does catch him, it's good night for Rolly. So whenever he did catch him, Barroso with the left hand, which he didn't catch him clear. Had he caught him good, like right on the button, that might have been good night for Rolly. And I know Rolly tried to stay away from it. He felt the power. We know the story, how the fight ended. I think Barroso was definitely in the fight. I had Barroso ahead by a couple of points. I'm not a judge, but from what I saw, at the time of the stoppage, one judge had it like a point for Barroso, and another judge had it like 3 points, and another judge had it like 5 points, I believe. So
That's
he was. Right. It seemed like Rolly probably needed a knockout to win, and well, that's what happened. I mean, the fight was stopped.
the question is, why was this fight stopped when we clearly saw at the end no punches landed by Rolly?
You know, that's the $1 million question right there, man. I've been in this spot, and I've been in boxing for years, man, since I was 8 years old, and you know my track record at the national level. I won national. I was a decorated amateur. I won just about every tournament you could think of in the amateurs. I competed against the Russians, the Cubans, the everybody, the best in the world. Went to the Olympics. As a pro, you know, I did well too. I fought the best. And then as a broadcaster, I covered so many fights, undercard fights, up and coming prospects, ex-world champions, super champions, big names, big fights. And that is the worst call that I've ever seen in my boxing life. I've never seen that before. I have no idea. I was stunned, you know. When I was doing the broadcasting with my partner, Alejandro Luna, we couldn't believe what we had seen, you know, because, and I know Tony Weeks, you know, I call him Tony Semanas, you know, because Tony Weeks, Tony Semanas, he's a great guy. I respect him. He's a great referee. He's been in bloody fights, you know, Diego Corrales, Chico Corrales against Castillo, what else? Baru Jack, when he got slit down the middle, like with. Yeah, bloody fights, and fights that are, you know, you get some, I get some, back and forth. Both fighters are hurt, and nobody was hurt at that point. I mean, if you look at the replay, I saw the replay like maybe 50 times already, and it was like a push. They pushed Barrasso, and it's more like he was off balance, and he was being pushed around, but not by solid shots by Roby. Because Barroso was still kind of making a miss in one way or another, maybe because he was out balance or whatever, but he was not getting hit flush. And there was not even an 8 count or nothing. He just jumped in and stopped the fight. I've never seen that. It's incredible, man.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That's what Barroso said to Jim Gray. Tony Weeks didn't even ask questions, didn't even say anything, just waved the fight off.
Right.
So it's just unbelievable because the referee supposed to look in the fighter's eyes, look at his legs, you know, to see if everything's okay. Ask questions.
Right. I think the whole boxing world is shocked about that. I mean, obviously, I'm not the only one. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody in social media is talking about it. It's shocking to see something like that happen. I mean, it probably does hurt boxing, but you know, it must continue. You know, boxing. Obviously, we still continue to put on great fights on Showtime, and you know, we got the series Showbox. Again, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. What the Las Vegas Commission is going to do about that. About 20 weeks stopping their fight so premature, because everybody's in agreement. Everybody on the broadcasting crew, you know, with Showtime. Al Bernstein and Brian Custer, Mauro, Abner, everybody was like, what happened? Why was the fight stopped?
Do you think there's a possibility that this fight can be reversed? The decision can be reversed?
I mean, that's I don't think you ever seen that in boxing. Once the decision goes, it stays. But does Barroso, and I call him the old man because he is 40 years old. He's old for boxing. Barroso, he deserves an immediate rematch, man. I mean, and the good thing about it is that Rolly, hey, listen, I got to give it to him. He did say, hey, that they did stop the fight kind of early. He admitted that. So I give him that. He was honest about that. And I really believe Barroso deserves an immediate rematch before they go to any other fight. That's just my opinion.
I agree. But then Rolly Romero wants a rematch with Tank Davis.
Yeah, I mean that is a bigger money fight. I mean, it's going to create more excitement, and maybe he'll fight Ryan Garcia first, and then the winner gets, since they both fought Tank Davis, you know, then the winner gets Tank Davis. That's the other route to go. But man, give the old man Barroso another shot. He deserves it because I'm talking for the fighter, man, because I was a fighter, and we know how hard we work to get to that point. He'd been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. Barroso was, and he has experience. He showed experience. He wanted. He prepared himself right, and you don't know if he's ever going to get that shot again at 40 years old. You know, it's not fair what happened to him, because I was 37 years old when I fought for the middleweight title again. When I shocked it was on Showtime. It was what was the guy's name? Arthur Abraham against Pantera Miranda. It was the rematch, and they were the main event. And me and this guy named Giovanni Lorenzo, Dominican guy, undefeated fighter. He was with Kathy Duva and Main Events. It was a knockout artist, like something like 28-0 with 25 knockouts or something. He was supposed to beat me. I was the name, but I earned that spot to fight for the number one spot, to fight Arthur Abraham. And I was 37 years old. Anyways, I beat him. I took him to school. I gutted it. You know me, I'm a warrior. I broke him down physically and mentally. Big old dude, middleweight. And I earned that shot to fight Arthur Abraham in Bamberg, Germany for the middleweight title, you know, at 37 years old. So the reason I'm talking about that is because I was 37, you know, and Barroso's 40. Man, for that to be taken away from him like that, you don't know what would have happened. Even if Rolly said he was kind of hurt and he was going to finish him, but you don't know. And then Barroso was ahead, and for him to win the title and then maybe fight one of the names and get a payday. I mean, that's what you're looking for at that age, at 40 years, and end your career. You know, he's not going to beat a Tank Davis. He's not going to beat Ryan Garcia. But he was there. He was, I mean, that close by earning that shot at getting one of those big fights, because he would have became a world champion at 40 years of age. The oldest, I believe, the oldest world champion in boxing right now. And that got taken away from a guy that's just, you know, that works hard, man, that got there by working hard.
And speaking of Barroso, he has that power that, you know, doesn't go away. You know, a fighter with that kind of power, the power is the last thing to go. So if Barroso would have won this fight, we can't count him out against the other fighters like Tank Davis, you know, or even Ryan Garcia, let's say. We can't count him out because he has that power, right?
Yeah, even Rolly said it. You know, he said, "Man, that guy, when he hit me, he just, even when he touched me, you could just feel." And I understand what he means by that, because I'm gonna go back to Arthur Abraham. Back when I was a fighter, I mean, I took a good shot. I was never knocked out, like not knowing where I was at. I was hurt, but I was always with Vargas, with Jermaine Taylor, big old guy. I got dropped, but I knew where I was at when they stopped the fight, right? I never was unconscious. So but let me tell you something. When Arthur Abraham hit me, man, that guy could crack. That guy could hit. He's just heavy-handed. You could feel that power. And I was a guy that took a good shot. And so I know where Rolly's coming from when he said Barroso, anything he just put his hands on him, he could feel the heavy hands. And that's a scary feeling. And it showed in Rolly, because he went. Listen, when they exchanged it, then he saw that he was getting the best of it. He would hold and grab and run or whatever he had to do to offset Barroso's rhythm and you know, not get caught with a left hand with his power shots. So you're right, Barroso, man. No matter what age you are, you're always going to carry that power. And you know, he's. We don't know what's going to happen now. Like he might get a shot at someone else if he doesn't get a shot at Rolly again, which who knows what's going to happen with that. But I hope he gets something. I hope they find a way to reward Barroso because of his performance. I think he deserves that. Barroso deserves a big fight, another shot at some other title or another name because of his performance with Rolando Romero.
I agree. And what did you think about that knockdown, I should say, that Rolly got? It didn't look to me like a knockdown.
No, it was, you know, again, he was off balance. It looked like a push. It seemed like he caught him with a good shot. Then the next one was more like a punch, whatever you want to call it. was Barroso maybe staggered a little bit, days maybe, but it wasn't clearly a knock. He still touched the canvas. It was so quick, man. It was one of those things so quick, and it's hard for the referee to decide at that point. That's what he decided. So that's what happened. I know Barroso did hurt Romero with his left hand.
Yes.
And he barely missed. I mean, he didn't, like I said, he didn't catch him like solid. Like I would have loved to see the. I mean, I felt like I've always been an underdog in my life, you know. So I'm always not that I'm going for the underdog, but it creates excitement, man. It always, when the underdog puts on a great performance or wins, it's fun. It makes boxing fun. Okay, that's what it's about.
I love underdogs.
Oh, I love them too, man. I love them too.
And what did you think about a low blow? I saw a low blow. I can't remember which round, but there was a clear low blow from Rolly Romero, and Tony Weeks didn't say anything. I was confused. I was like, "Did you not see this low blow?"
Yeah,
the replay I think showed it.
Right.
The replay.
I did see a couple of low blows, but I think that was just Rolly being wild and being, you know, I can't say scared, but being conscious of Barroso's power, you know. Sometimes punches just go that way because you're like, oh, man, I don't want to get caught by the left hand by Barroso or any shot because he felt his heavy hands. So I think it was more being cautious of that power and then just let punches go that went a different route, you know, and that's why he hit him low.
So you think Rolly was getting frustrated?
Absolutely, yes. I do think he was. I do think he was frustrated to a certain extent, but he's got experience. I mean, he's still a smart fighter. He was fighting smart, you know, being very cautious, trying to score points from the outside, and knew when it was safe to mix it up. But he was still down, and he did catch Barroso with some good shots. Barroso showed he has a good chin too. Not only power, but he takes a good shot. I believe he's only been knocked down twice, but he's definitely a power puncher, man. 24 of the 24 wins, 22 of them are knockouts. So he's definitely a knockout artist.
Tell me, why do you think a lot of boxing fans they underestimate older fighters? Because you just talked about going into your fight against King Arthur Abraham. You were already a bit older, but you had just won a fight. Before that fight, you have beat a Dominican,
yes,
right?
Giovanni Lorenzo, yes. Undefeated guy, knockout artist.
So and why, you know, in history, we've seen guys like yourself. We've seen guys like Bernard Hopkins. We've seen, even up to now, we've seen guys like Luis Ortiz, you know, older fighters do good. And I don't understand why time after time boxing fans keep underestimating older fighters.
Well, it all depends, you know, what kind of older fighter. When you're talking about an older fighter, there's some older fighters that are really washed up. You know, they've been in a lot of wars, a lot of wear and tear. You know, and we know our reflexes as you get older, they're not the same. You know, we talked about you're always going to carry that power, but our footwork and our speed is definitely going to diminish. But then there's a lot of guys that maybe didn't take a lot of punishment. Maybe they're well preserved, you know, at 35, 37, or 40. Didn't take beatings, and they still put up a good fight. And sometimes they upset the younger guy. It happens. It's happened a bunch of times. And, you know, that's probably why there's a reason people might, he's 40 years old or he's 38. He's not going to be the same. It just depends how your career went down the line. You know, when you were coming up, were you in a lot of wars? Did you take a lot of punishment? Did you get knocked out a bunch of times? How did you get knocked out? Were you knocked out unconscious? Or did you just get stopped because of cuts? Different reasons, you know. How you take care of your body. You know, that kind of stuff.
When I think about older fighters, I always think about Big George Foreman knocking out Michael Moore.
I fought on that card. I remember when George fought, Michael Moore, because I was in the Duba camp and I trained with Michael Moore. We're in camp and I was up and coming. I fought a veteran. A veteran. It was an 8-round fight. I fought Jorge Vaca.
Oh, I remember him.
Remember Jorge Vaca? Yeah.
I remember him.
He was a champion. Old, but he was older, on his way out, whatever. But guess what? He did whatever he had to do to survive and take me 8 rounds. I couldn't get him out of there because of his veteran experience. I forgot how many fights I had, but I was only an 8-round fighter, but I couldn't get him out of there. Experienced veteran, champion, world champion. But yeah, you're right. When George knocked out, did he shock the world, man? Because me and my father and our team, we didn't expect that. We did not expect that.
You Texas fighters sure are tough.
Oh, always, man. Texas has a lot of talent, man. It's always had a lot of talent. From down South Texas, in the Valley, to Houston, to Dallas-Fort Worth, Midland, Odessa, that area. Terrible Terry Norris and his brother. Just it's a lot of amateur talent, a lot of professional too. World champions, Fort Worth, Donald Curry, my Olympic teammate Sergio Reyes, Paulie Ayala, Gene Hatcher, Stevie Cruz, even in Corpus Christi, Frankie Pachito Warren back in the days, Lupe Suazo, I believe. Then Houston, we have a lot of talent now and before, Rocky Juarez, Juan Diaz, George Foreman, Reggie Johnson. Right now, the Charlo brothers,
That's right.
Regis Prograis, Oshaki Foster, Giovanni Marquez, who's coming up.
There we go. And
I'm gonna keep talking it up because that's the way to do it, man. So and then the Valley, the Figueroa kids over there, Brandon. Down in South Texas. There's a lot of talent, man. There's a lot of talent here in Texas.
Sure is. Always has been, always will be talent from Texas.
Yes, sir.
And since you mentioned Juan Diaz, I'll never forget that war against Juan Manuel Marquez.
Oh, yeah, that was here in Houston, man. That was a war. Juan, he was a warrior. He not a lot of power, man, but man, was he in great shape? And he stayed busy in the ring. He threw a lot of punches and took a good shot. He came to fight. He gave people what they wanted, man. He was a good fighter, and he's a great guy. He's doing well for himself. I believe he's in the trucking business and does well. And I like to see fighters that do well after boxing. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he did good. Juan Diaz did good.
Yeah, he did.
Speaking of this horrible stoppage, could this be worse than Chavez Taylor?
Oh, yeah. Yes. In my opinion, yes. Because look, if you look at Chavez Taylor was beat up. He was spitting blood, and you saw Belder Taylor. You saw his eyes they both looked closed. So Richard Steele at that point, that 10, 11, 12, what was the last round? A punishment from Chavez, and then he wasn't really reacting. He had a better excuse to stop the fight than this last fight, because there was no sense. I didn't notice that Barroso was bleeding or he was hurt or he was still throwing punches too.
He was
very alive, man. I'm telling you, everybody was shocked, man. It was a very weird, premature stoppage. I've never seen that kind of stoppage like that in the amateurs or other pros. It was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
And you just mentioned team Camp Duva when you fought on the undercard of Foreman and Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought of someone. Imagine Lou Duva was with Barroso.
Oh my God, Lou Duva. Hey, you know, outside with Lou Duva, main events. I was in main events right out of the Olympics. Man, he would have went after Richard Steele. He went after everybody. Lou Duva would have been thrown down, and it would have been a big scene with Lou Duva, man. Remember when Galata fought Riddick Bowe, and just a bunch of fighters. You know, Roger Mayweather, I believe, fought somebody. Vinny Pazienza or Rocky Lockridge, one of those guys. Lou Duva was always in the mix. Oh, if that would have happened, Jesus Christ, they would have had to suspend Lou Duva. He would have been. He was all for his fighters, man. He would really protect his fighters. It would have been crazy. That's a great observation, man. It really is. Lou Duva, yeah, he was a great man.
I miss Lou Duva. He was
yes, he was good for boxing.
He was.
He was good. He was a good cheerleader in the corner. Everybody needs a Lou Duva in the corner.
Yeah,
because he knows how to motivate you. Yeah, he knew boxing. I didn't see him so much as a trainer, more of a motivator. You know, in the corner, because he knew how to motivate his fighters. And like I said, I go back to Lou. Lou knows me since he knew me since I was like 13, 14 years old as an amateur here in Houston, and I used to be in camp with. I'm gonna go way back, man. I don't know, John Molina, Rocky Lockridge, Vinny Pazienza,
yes,
Johnny Bumphus, all those guys. Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Evander Holyfield, Terrell Biggs. I was in camp with all those guys when I was coming up as an amateur, as a top amateur. And then, you know, obviously when I ended up turning pro with main events after the Olympics.
Did you ever do some work with Sweet Pea?
All the time. The first time I sparred Sweet Pea Whitaker was in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I was still an amateur. And, you know, I wouldn't say cocky, but not like, I was just confident. I was a confident, I mean, I was a national champion. I was the top guy in USA boxing, you know, from 1989 to 92 in different weight classes, 147 and 156. But I went up there and I sparred Pernell Whitaker, and I believe it was Ronnie Shields and Georgie Benton. Lou Duva was there. Anyways, I just sparred Pernell like 4 rounds, you know. I was an amateur. And he sparred other guys, and I guess Pernell was testing me. I mean, you know, this kid's a top national champion and all that. We got into a wrestling match. They had to stop us.
Wow.
Everybody jumped in the ring. But, you know, that's when I got, like, Pernell's respect, man. And he gave me a lot of advice. And I respect Pernell so much. You know, may he rest in peace. He was a great guy. I learned so much from sparring him. Lefty, you know, the best. Knew how to dissect with the jab and his left hand. He had respectable power. He was so intelligent inside the ring. He was a great fighter, man. He was a great fighter. One of the last times I saw him in at the Boxing Hall of Fame, which is coming up here June 9th. As a matter of fact, we have a Showbox show June 9th at Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. I love going to that. I think I've done 3 or 4 years of the Boxing Hall of Fame. I love it because everybody's a boxing fan. You get people from all over the world. And anyway, so I was with Pernell at one of those. We hung out, you know, with Joe Graziano's bar, one of the Graziano's bar.
It's closed
we
down.
We had some drink. What's that?
Graziano's is closed.
Yeah, they closed it down, but that was a fun place to hang out with, man. I mean, hang out at. You know, have a nice adult beverage, you know, and
yeah,
it was fun for everybody. And that's the last time that I hung out with Pernell. Milton McCory was there, the Spinks brother, everybody, like Livingston Bramble. So many fighters. So many. It's fun.
Carvajal.
What's that?
Michael Carvajal.
Yeah, Michael Carvajal. All those guys, man. You know, and I hung out with Pernell. And I mean, I paid for all his drinks, man, because it was an honor for me to. I mean, like, I'm no Pernell, but just I was happy to pay all his drinks. So we were feeling good because I learned so much from him, and I respect him, and he was a great guy. And it's sad the way his life ended. It's sad. He was a great fighter, really great fighter. I sparred him so many rounds, man, in Virginia Beach, Virginia Beach, Vero Beach. Florida, here in Houston, San Antonio, being in camp with Arturo Gatti, David Tuo, Andrew Galata. But I sparred Pernell Whitaker so many times, and I learned a lot from him. So when I sparred him in the amateurs and I went to his national tournaments, I was like, man, this guy's ain't nothing. My attitude was like, I'm just going to walk over this guy. That was my attitude back then when I was younger. And it paid off. And it paid off. I made the Olympic team, and the rest is history.
Tell me what those sparring sessions were like, because I don't see too many guys touching Pernell Whitaker. He was so slick, smooth.
Exactly, so smooth and slick and countered. It wasn't just like he was slick, and it wasn't like he ran. He stayed in the pocket. He circled around you and dissected with the jab and threw the left hand from different angles and was very creative with his combinations. And he was the man. He was good. I hit him every now and then. Believe it or not, I hit him every now and then. But like I said, it was me. It was schooling. It was learning from Pernell Whitaker, the great Pernell Whitaker. But I sparred him so many rounds, man. Of course, he sparred 4 or 5 rounds with me, 4 rounds with another guy, and 4 rounds with another guy. I'll come in at the beginning, or I'll come in the middle, or at the end, whatever they had lined up that day. That's the way it was. But it was being in the Duba camp. Those years were, man, one of the best years of my life in boxing. And being also on the national team, amateur team from 1989 to 1992, they were probably one of the best years of my life in boxing too. Traveling with, everybody that was on the national team. There's so many guys that didn't make the Olympic team that were still good fighters, that were ranked number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and just going to different cities all over the United States, going to different countries. USA versus Russia. I mean, I fought the Russians like 6 times.
Wow.
Germany, Cuba, Canada, Mexico, Italy, Yugoslavia, Spain.
You saw
Italy, huh?
You pretty much saw every single style.
I did. Yeah. Every single style. And everybody, let me tell you, it's hard to adjust in 3 rounds with especially the European guys over there, the style they got. Every style is so different. And the Cubans too, they're the Cuban school of boxing, the way they fight. And you learned a lot. I learned a lot from the amateurs. Once I got into the pros, just had to settle down more and get. My style was always more for the pros, so it was pretty easy for me to get adjusted from the amateurs to the pros. But mental wise, I didn't have a problem. I mean, the first 13, 14, 15 fights in my career, whatever, it was pretty easy, man. Probably the guys that are the top guys from different countries that I fought in the national and the amateurs were probably tougher than the guys that I fought. They were, because when you're coming up, they got to bring you up the right way and fight you with the right people, but that amateur experience made me better in the pros, or got me ready for the pros at the beginning. Fight Skipper Kelp. I don't know if you know Skipper Kelp. He was a top amateur too.
No.
Fought him on USA Tuesday Night Fights. And
wow.
we were roommates in the amateurs, and I remember when Lou Duva told me, like, you're gonna have to fight Skipper Kelp for the USBA title on USA Tuesday Night Fights, and I was like, okay. I believe Andrew Council fought on that card. Winky Wright, something like that. I don't remember. What's that?
I might actually have some of those fights in my collection of VHS.
Yeah, I have that fight when I fought Skipper. And I fought on USA Tuesday Night Fights maybe like 5 times. Back then Tuesday Night Fights was you wanted to fight on there.
Tuesday night fights, Wednesday night fights, Friday night fights, all those shows were amazing.
It was good platforms, man. Good platforms to build you up and get to the big fights.
They sure
yes,
were.
Sure.
And I have to ask you about Showbox, the new generation, June 9th, because I will be there. So I got to ask you about that event. What's your thoughts on that event? Because there's some good fights taking place that night.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have the schedule here, man. I need to. I haven't went by it because I go show to show. Like we just did this show with Rolly. So once I especially for Showbox, maybe like a week before the fight, a week and a half, like I married these fighters because they're fighters that some fighters are new. You never seen them before. Some fighters you've seen them before, but I haven't looked into it yet. Once I get down but it's the thing about it is Showbox. It's always going to be exciting fights because these guys want to get to the big Showtime Championship boxing, and then it's Hall of Fame weekend, so it's going to be a great night of boxing, like it always is, man.
I just actually spoke to a light heavyweight that's going to be fighting that night by the name of Clay Waterman, sparring partner for Artur Beterbiev.
Okay, yeah. I don't think we ever had him on Showbox. I think it's his first time fighting on Showbox.
It's actually his U.S. pro debut.
He's not gonna fight on. He's not gonna fight on Showbox, but he's fighting on the card. You said.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, obviously he must be a good fighter. He's been sparring with Artur Beterbiev. You know, that's some good work. He gives him good work. So, look forward to seeing him.
Me too. I look forward to seeing him. I look forward to seeing you. And let us know when Giovanni Marquez is back in the ring.
Oh, for sure, man. We'll do another interview. Like I said, we're trying to line up a fight for him in June, and he's got something really big for us as a family, and just something. It's a great opportunity for him that's coming up in August. We're all excited about it. His management, Split T, and David McWater, we're all excited for Giovanni, and he's working hard every day. Hopefully, he's staying out of the fiestas and staying focused.
Focus.
I'm sure he is.
Focus like his father, because when I heard about Giovanni Marquez, I was like, wait, Raul Marquez has a son that's fighting?
Yeah, actually, I had my oldest son, Raul. He boxed at the amateur level. He did okay, but boxing was not for him. He works now. He does well, has a good job. And then Arturo Marquez, he had signed with Top Rank. We got him 10-0 with 6 knockouts or something like that. He was doing well, but some opponent poked his eye, and it wasn't a detached retina, but it was called the corneal abrasion. And the last 2 fights kept messing with him, and it kept getting irritated. So we said, hey, it's not worth it. And he's working too. He does well. So I'm proud of both of my older boys. But Giovanni's he might be the one. I don't know. We'll see. I don't push my kids to box. They wanted to box, they grew up in a boxing family. So Giovanni's, like I said, he won the national gold. He had gone to some nationals and made it to semifinals, and he would lose to the winner or lose to the guy that made it to the finals, that kind of deal, or maybe got a bad decision, that kind of stuff. And then, he won the national Golden Gloves, got the Outstanding Fighter Award. Then we turned pro, and he's doing well. He's doing well. He wants it. He knows he's got to work hard, and I look forward to, I train him, and I look forward to hopefully making him a world champion one day. That's my goal. That's my next goal. And besides, like I said, I was an Olympian. I was a world champion. I think I do pretty well as a broadcaster in Spanish and English. And I want to be a top trainer, and hopefully by with my kids' skills and my boxing skills that I had and training him, we'll get there one day. We're gonna try, man. We're in it.
You grew up in a good time of boxing. You learned from the best. You mentioned some great names, guys that you worked with in the past while you were fighting. So I'm sure you will teach a lot of good stuff to your son.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm always learning too. You learn so much from doing broadcasting too, from covering undercard fights, guys that are pretty up and coming on Showbox, guys that are prospects, guys that are contenders, guys that are champions, super champions. You always learn. you know, and that's what I try to give to my son, so he'll better himself. And he knows he's got to work hard. You know, conditioning is very important in boxing. You could have all the time in the world, but if you run out of gas in a 10-round fight, you run out of gas in 4 or 5 rounds, you know, what's going to happen, you know?
What speaking of Tony Semanas, I like that name.
Oh, he loves it when I tell him that too. He loves it.
He's a great guy. I've met him.
Yes.
Before. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But that was just a bad call.
It was a bad call.
But
only he knows. I don't know. Like, yeah, he didn't want to get interviewed, but I would like to see his call, why he stopped it, or what he saw. I mean, I'm sure he's got he's got a reason why he stopped it. He's a referee, you know. You got to respect the referees inside the ring, and if that's the call he made, and he has a good reason why he made the call, then it is what it is.
What do you say to those that are upset in saying that Tony Semanas should be suspended?
Well,
I've heard
you know, give him a break. You know, I think give him a break. Like, maybe he'll come out and do a press release or something and explain why he stopped it. Like I said, he's got a reason. You know, let the man talk. You know, I'm sure he'll come back and talk, do interviews. Let him talk and see. There's got to be a reason why, and if he has a right reason and that's his reason, he's the man in the ring. That's why he's a referee. He's a world-class referee. He's been around for years. And if that's what it is, then that's what it is, and that's it. It's boxing. I mean, look, fans are always going to talk, man. That's one thing I've learned in life. People are when you're champion and you're a top guy, they still talk shit about you. It's going to be good stuff and bad stuff, and that's just the way life is. And people always talk, and so I think Tony has, you know, he's got the right to come out and say why, his version of it, why he stopped the fight. And if he's got a legitimate one, or that's his opinion, then that's what it is.
Boxing fans are crazy.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they can get crazy. They're very emotional. Very emotional. They got a lot of you got some hardcore boxing fans, you know.
Yes.
And they're very, you know, when they get emotional, man, that's when, or, you know, they're very competitive, or they're on one side of some other fighter, and then you got the other fans on the other side. Man, it could get dangerous too. They really can.
Raul Marquez, I gotta ask you one more question before I let you go.
Okay, man, no problem.
In regards to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, we got one of my favorite fighters, and I'm sure you like this guy, Rafael Marquez, being inducted. What do you think about Rafael Marquez getting inducted?
Oh, he deserves it, man. He's Marquez. He's got my last name. That should put him in the Boxing Hall of Fame no matter what. No, he was a great fighter, man. The wars that he had with Israel Vasquez, who's a good friend of mine. Israel is a hell of a guy. Man, they put on some wars, man. They put on some wars on Showtime. You know, good people. They deserve it. You know, his brother, Juan Manuel Marquez. I'm happy for Rafael that he's going to be inducted too into the Boxing Hall of Fame. He deserves it. And again, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to be there. I love to see all the fans and you know, my couple of fans that I got that come up to me and stuff. It's great. I love being there. Like I said, I've been doing this. This is probably my 4th or 5th year attending the Boxing Hall of Fame, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I love to sit there and talk boxing with people, and you know, from all over the world, man. It's crazy how that little place it's a small place. So, but you've been there before, right? The Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes.
It's a small place, and it's crazy how everybody reunites there. And well, you know, now it's going to be different, or it's been different, where they go to the casino, right?
Yeah.
Different, but they still have events over there, you know, where the you know, Boxing Hall of Fame is at. It's crazy how so all the fans and the best fighters from all over the world, man, they're there. Ex-fighters, current fighters, prospects, contenders, broadcasters, boxing broadcasters, everybody, man. It's writers, it's beautiful. I can't wait. I have a good time every year that I've been there. I love it, man. If anybody's a boxing fan, like a hardcore, if you really want to see something big, man, I'm telling you, you should try to make it one day to one of those events, because it's like a kid in a candy store, man. It really is. It really is. And being able to chat with some of the old time fighters, and like for me, like I chat with guys that I used to spar or I was around them or saw them growing up. Like one time when Ruben Olivares, my dad loves Ruben Olivares.
Yeah.
He was there.
El Púas.
El Púas Olivares, yeah. Pino Cuevas.
Yeah.
That was another guy that I got to meet. I got one of the years that I was there, I got to meet one of my idols, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and
yeah.
Man, Roberto Duran, talking to Sugar Ray Leonard, all those guys, man. It's awesome.
Raul Marquez, I will see you hopefully on that weekend of the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, man. I get in Wednesday morning early. I'm gonna take advantage. I get in Wednesday morning, and I'm out Saturday at a reasonable time. I'm not gonna be there the whole weekend, but I'm there for the fight. But I'll be there on Wednesday. I like to get there Wednesday morning early. That way, like midday. That way, I could go, see who I see or who sees me.
I'll see you.
A bunch of other fighters that show. Milton McCory too. That he goes to that every year, and the Spinks. I know one of them passed.
Yes. Leon.
Yeah. Evander Holyfield.
Yes.
So many.
So many great fighters, including Fernando Vargas, a guy that you fought.
Yeah, Fernando. Me and Fernando, we see each other every now and then. We used to see each other because our kids run the national tournaments, so we run into each other. And then now his kids are doing good as pros too. All three of his boys are boxing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, man. Yes. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. And just want to say hi to everybody that tuned in. And look forward to June 9th, Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. If you don't catch me there, you can catch me on Showbox with Barry Tompkins, Steve Farhood, Brian Campbell. Our Bernstein is going to be a part of it too for the big Hall of Fame weekend. And then remotely, Steve Farhood will be, part of us. So yeah, it's going to be a big show, big weekend, Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. Tune in. I'll see you guys there. I'll see you there, and look forward to it, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.